Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about an action thriller film called The Vault from 2021. Enjoy your viewing. Divers from the Atlantis ship find and recover the treasures of a sunken galleon worth tens of millions of dollars. Suddenly they are surrounded by boats and helicopters of the Spanish Customs Service. The court decides that the cargo found by the team is pirated and is the property of the country. The ship's commander, Walter, cannot accept the fact that the Spanish authorities have taken away the treasure he has been searching for years. His girlfriend Margaret is an employee of the British MI6 service. She says that the case is lost, and suggests that the hero live an ordinary life. After that, an armored truck with a military escort delivers the treasure from the galleon to the underground vault of a Madrid bank. Meanwhile, the movie shows us Cambridge University, where a young 22-year-old student genius named Tom Jones refuses to accept job offers from representatives of 8 major international oil companies. In the evening, he has dinner with his disgruntled father. He explains that the rejected requests from companies are due to the fact that he has other interests. At that moment, he receives a text message from an unknown number asking him to meet with a person who wants to give him a chance. In his jacket pocket, Tom finds an old coin from an exhibition and a postcard. The intrigued hero goes to the event, where he is met by an alleged curator of the exhibition named Lorraine. The curator offers to become an accomplice in a case that he will remember for the rest of his life. They go to a bar, where Moreland sits down with a guy. He tells him that he has a much more interesting job than working for tycoons. More precisely, the job is to rob one of the safest banks in the world. Walter tells us that there is a vault there. To break into the vault, you need not a programmer, but the coolest specialist, because the building is 80 years old, and no one knows anything. They don't even know the principles of building a secure facility. We need a person with high intelligence. That same evening, the young genius is looking for information about a miracle of 19th century engineering, namely a safe in a bank in Spain. Later, he decides to fly to Madrid. At this time, the city is filled with crowds of fans and tourists, as the World Cup is taking place. Lorraine brings the boy to an apartment, which is their command center, where the future robbers have gathered. Walker introduces them. Klaus is a computer specialist. James is a former MI6 officer. The leader of the upcoming operation, along with Simon, is responsible for purchasing everything they need. To hack into the bank's network, you need to get the password from an email. The brute force method won't work because there are a billion combinations, but there is no time. Genius Jones suggests a simple way, or rather, he suggests making a phishing auto alert to trick a bank employee into learning the password. Surprisingly, this plan works, and they learn the password. Soon after, James and Simon go down to the subway and watch the entrance and exit, taking notes. At this time, Tom comes to the cafe and talks to Walter. He learns the story about the treasure of the pirate Drake. It turns out that the chest was raised from the bottom by Mauritania. In the chest are 3 coins, clues with the coordinates of the priceless treasure, and the Spanish government does not yet know that they have the chest itself, along with other confiscated valuables. Walter says that it's not about the wealth itself, but that the meaning of his life is hunting for lost things. The accomplices begin to develop a detailed plan. They need to break into the chest and take the coins, then replace them with fake ones so that no one suspects anything. Later, they need to leave without being noticed. The task is difficult. There are many cameras and sensors inside. There are also armed guards and a garrison of soldiers standing outside. In addition, the head of the guard, whose name is Gustavo, is a former head of a counter-terrorism unit. The best way to get to the bank is through the Madrid tunnels, and the only information we have about the vault is an old sketch by a former employee who was there for only a few minutes. To open the door, 2 keys are required, as well as the fingerprint of the security manager. In addition, there is a hidden safety switch in the vault. No one knows where it is, but if it is not turned off, it will close all the doors, making it impossible to get out. The team begins the first phase of the plan. Tom and Simon pose as cleaning service workers and enter the bank through the parking lot. At the same time, Lorraine introduces herself as an art historian and takes Gustavo's fingerprints, giving him a cup of coffee to hold. Klaus turns off the cameras for a while, and Simon enters the room where the servers are located. He inserts a bug, and now the security system is under the control of a team of thieves. Lorraine is left alone in the bank director's office. She is supposedly evaluating an expensive painting, and the hacker records a looped video and plays it on the screens, after which the girl opens the safe and copies the key. At the same time, Tom sneaks into the meeting room with a magnetometer, which is located just above the vault. They want to use the magnetometer to create a 3D map of the room. Suddenly, a delegation enters the room. Johnson makes a risky decision and hides under the table. He continues scanning, and then the alarm goes off. The bank closes because of the alarm, but the 3 robbers miraculously manage to complete the reconnaissance phase of the operation. It turns out that there is a water tank above the underground shelter, and an empty room below it, into which prisoners are lowered when they are alarmed. This turns the main room into a death trap. Tom realizes that the statue in the vault is not simple. It does not depict a martyr, but a goddess of justice. This is the clue. The whole mechanism is a huge scale, which means that if someone enters the vault, the scale will overflow and the room will flood. It's time for the second stage of the operation to explore the underground tunnel. James and Simon find an old ventilation shaft that leads directly to the support structure under the vault. There they find the real system. It is impressive in its scale. Everything is made of high-strength metals and reinforced concrete. However, they won't be able to cut through the wall to the bank quickly, because the alarm will go off. Walter guesses that if they can't get in from below, they can use the roof of the bank, because the security systems outside will be directed at the fans of the football championship final. The robbers have 105 minutes of the game at their disposal. During this time, they must have time to carry out the theft plan. Meanwhile, the head of the bank's security team accidentally finds out that the cleaning service workers were fake and begins to suspect that a robbery is in the works. He also comes to the conclusion that the bank's gold is not worth the effort, which means that the thieves want to get what is in the boxes. The man is sure that the robbery will take place on Sunday during the final game, as it is the perfect distraction. Walter calls Margaret and asks for her help for a 50% reward. The bank receives false information from British intelligence that the entire group of suspects was arrested yesterday at London Airport. There is also all the evidence of preparations for a robbery. However, Gustavo still feels in danger. Lorraine invites Tom for a drink and a chat. She wants to relax from her hard mental work. Watching the bartender prepare cocktails, the genius engineer finds a solution to the problem with the scales. He needs to freeze the scales with liquid nitrogen in a storage facility. So he says that he will personally go to the robbery and let Simon take care of freezing the mechanism. Day X comes. The final match, Spain versus the Netherlands. Crowds of people fill the square near the bank. James, Tom, and Lorraine sneak into the bank through the roof. Simon is underground preparing to freeze the mechanism. Walter is in charge of the operation and surveillance, and Klaus provides cyber support. The head of the security service, Gustavo, is also awake. He calls the military, and the general informs him that there are 2 backup units ready to arrive at any time in case of a robbery. The 3 thieves go down into the elevator chamber. They find themselves in front of a chasm and overcome it with the help of a sliding ladder. The computer guy cracks the password and locks the cell. He also disables the motion sensors. Using Gustavo's fingerprint and a duplicate key, the team gets into the most impregnable vault. Simon freezes the signal weight mechanism. They have only a few minutes before the nitrogen melts. Suddenly, a pigeon flies into the holes in the bank's dome through which the thieves entered. This raises the alarm. At this point, James pulls a gun on Lorraine and demands that she give him the coins. It turns out that the traitor is still working for MI6 and wants to hand over the treasure to the British government. An alarm goes off, and the thieves are trapped in a rapidly filling water tank. James has special training. He dives into an open airlock and escapes. Tom comes up with a way to escape. He asks Simon to throw empty liquid nitrogen cylinders at the mechanism to create a counterweight. The boys miraculously manage to avoid the trap. Meanwhile, Gustavo sends security to search, and the team of thieves hurriedly tries to find a way to leave the bank. Lorraine remembers that the bank director is smoking in his office, so the latch on the window is broken. In the end, the heroes go down into the crowd of fans, and at this time the Spanish team scores the last goal. The crowd cheers, and because of this, the pursuers do not notice the fugitives. Later, at the British embassy, Margaret and the traitor James enter the coordinates from the coins. They find out that the coordinates point to the Eiffel Tower. It turns out that the coins are fake. At the last moment, while James knew nothing, Lorraine switched the coins and gave them to the traitor. The team of thieves learns the true location of Drake's treasure. The treasure is hidden in the Bank of England. A month before the Olympic Games, Lorraine appears on the doorstep of the London financial institution as an art appraiser. This is where the movie ends. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I am happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. Klontsak Recapped was with you. See you soon.